Hello viewers, Super GT here. Now the task in today's races is to not be an absolute bottle job, which is something that I am very guilty of being. Well, a lot of the time anyway. So we come to this week's daily races. Again, an oxymoron, weekly daily races, doesn't even make sense. This is daily race B in the big boy Veyron. So Dragon Trail Seaside, this car is by far and away the best car for this race, for this circuit in Group 4. We do have an attack inbound from a Nissan GTR behind into Turn 1. It's as you can see, it's a bulky boy. It's a very bulky machine, and therefore the brakes are going to suffer. But just about survive Turn 1, get away from the pack. Now the job here, of course, from pole position, you're going to be disappointed to finish lower than first because you've lost positions. So of course the main task here, well, we've said it, don't bottle it and try to finish first. If we can do that, then I'll be very happy. So through the chicane, this circuit made up of very many chicanes, big gap developing already, up to 1.5 seconds at about 2/3 of the way into the lap, which is a good sign at this current moment. We are coming up to the chicane of death though. This is where things go very wrong for me very often, looking behind, two abreast between the two Spaniards, which isn't ideal going into the chicane. As we go through, just about kicking the wheels up into the air, maximising the width of the circuit. We've got through there okay. We're still maintaining a 1.5 second gap. Back to second place into the final hairpin of the circuit. Very open hairpin, very long sort of corner this. Get on the power nicely onto the main straight. So that's the end of lap 1. This is the end of lap 4. Actually the gap now up to 4.5 seconds. So it's actually a really steady, actually a fairly good race. There's only one thing that could ruin it for me now, which is the chicane of death. You can see just how close you have to run the risk of death. It was first place in the end. So there we go, I can do something good after all. But we are going to try again, this time starting third with the same qualifying time, but I think the Spaniard there has improved his time to jump ahead of me on the qualifying. Then we've got a Russian, or is it a Slovakian, or is it a Slovenian? I got this massively wrong the other day, and at a glance I can't quite tell the flag. Actually it's not Russia. I can see that there's a coat of arms on there. All those Slovakians and Slovenians in the comment section, please do correct me as to which flag it is. So we've got the Slovakian Slovenian on pole in the Veyron as well. We've got the Spaniard here in second in the Nissan GTR. So he was in the previous race. He started behind me. So then into hairpin number 1 of the circuit. And just about maintaining third from the Swiss attack from behind, right into the fast sweepers now. I really tried to get a good run through this one into one of the best overtaking opportunities on the lap. I think the overtaking opportunities around here are very good, and we come down to probably the best one on the circuit. Over this crest, down the hill, into a sharp right-hander. He was just braking just before the beginning of that curb. We're on the brakes, sorry, at exactly the right moment as we then loop around towards the chicane of death. Can we get through here okay? It looks like a fairly close race. Doesn't look like the leader despite being obviously the fastest person in qualifying. He isn't getting away too much. The Spaniard having a poor run, thinks about going defensive, doesn't quite do it. So I'm going to get the momentum here to get alongside and up the inside into the final corner. And we've got the job done unless he can get a cut back on me. It's not going to happen this time, I'll just about cover it off. So down the main straight, you can see the guy there ahead just swerving across, tried to break the toe. I followed him across the circuit to really make sure that I am getting the full benefit, getting sucked along the circuit in his dirty air. Okay then, into the fast sweeping right-hander. This corner can be very misleading, can be very easy to get wrong. Pulling up right onto his tail on the brakes. Not sure if there was contact, I don't think there was. He gets a bit of a moment on the way out, over the crest, down towards the fast sweepers. And again, the objective through here is to really just get a good line, and on the way out go for that move so that you can possibly get yourself into a good position into the hairpin at the bottom of this hill coming up over the crest. I'm into the slipstream, probably not within range, especially given that we're in the same car. The brakes are going to be the same. There we go, braking exactly the same time. Into the corner. GTR sweeping very closely behind. Now I have sort of performed a cutback here, and we're going to go into the chicane of death side by side, and that's not really going to be an ideal situation. So I'm going to kind of back out there. He's going to go really deep into the wall on the exit, and I'm going to go through into first place, into the lead. A little bit of battling between the two of them behind, and I think I just unsettled him. I totally unsettled him just by going in side by side, and he kind of had to readjust the way he had to go into that corner, because you really do have to maximise the entry on the way in and turn in quite early, and I think I kind of disrupted his flow, so he makes the mistake. I'm up into the lead, so I've gone from 31st. So unlike the first race, I've actually got quite a lot of work to do in terms of overtaking against technically quicker people, as they had quicker lap times in qualifying. So I now find myself on the third lap in first place. So this is going really well at the moment. If we could just maintain this from here to the end. I mean, we've got good practice. In the previous race, we ran from the first lap to the last lap in first place. I didn't surrender the position at all throughout. This is going to be a little bit different. We now have Nissan a lot closer for comfort. In fact, too close really. You want at least a second gap. I don't think he's close enough there to go for a move, as we're just a bit behind. He is possibly within range to go for a very big dive bomb. The Veyron's brakes aren't amazing, and you see, yeah, he has actually gone for the move, and I turned across him. A bit of a strong move as he almost into the back of me again. But well, I mean, I kind of turned across there, and it looked a bit strong for me, but you could see that it was really difficult to tell where he was exactly. And even though the chase cam can give you that information, it can tell you where people are, and I am using the radar as well, but sometimes it can be very hard to look at the radar in the heat of the moment whilst also trying to control your car. So sometimes difficult, you know, when people go for a move, you can't always see them very easily. At the moment, we're going to have one lap remaining. Let's see if we can just preserve this lead and not be a total bottle job, which is always helpful in any racing game, or in any game really, or just in life in general. So then, through the first chicane, we've negotiated that one rather nicely, half a second ahead. So we have a fair margin, not as big as you'd like though. Okay, into the sweeping right, we've just gone a little too hot, dipping two wheels just beyond the curb, a little bit too deep over the curb, onto the grass, and there it is, confirmation that Super GT is an absolute bottle job. So down into third. On the final lap, I'm not going to have any time to reply. I mean, if this was an 8-lap race, I might have a chance. But I've done it exactly the wrong time. To be a bottle job, you know, there's good timing and bad timing. Or, well, it's never ideal to time it at all. But in this situation, I've got no time to reply unless they start fighting very heavily, which they are actually doing, into the hairpin. And if they go side by side into the chicane of death, then you never know what might happen. In fact, let's see what happens here. The Russian, Slovakian, Slovenian guy going ahead, and they're not going to go side by side, unfortunately, unless I can spot that they're going to have some sort of incident. They have slowed down. I think the leader did make a mistake. I am going to gain, but it's going to take something miraculous now for me to overtake any of them into the final corner. I've definitely gained, but it's not going to be enough. So I'm going to finish where I started, which is not too bad, but when you're in the lead on the final lap, you know, going down to third, that's going to be disappointing, and it is disappointing, very disappointing. So there is confirmation of the result, a second off of the lead at the end, and well, he's in a fist bump, but I really don't think he should be, because that was an absolute bottle. Right then, we switch attention to Daily Race C around Bathurst or Mount Panorama, and Group 3 this time. I'm using the 4GT, which is typically the OP wagon of this class, but what I will say is that it is absolutely treacherous trying to drive this thing around this circuit. I mean, this circuit is a difficult track. It is not easy. Up in the mountain, there are so many places where it can go wrong. There's walls right on you, there's dips and curves, and there's lots of other people, you know, so there's plenty of things that can go wrong here, and that's before you even get to the car that you're driving. And this car really is not easy to drive around this circuit. So I've chosen technically the fastest car, but also technically the car that I'm most likely to crash in. So we'll see how this one goes as we come up the hill into the beginning of the mountain section. So the two leaders there getting side by side. The pole sitter actually with a very quick lap in qualifying. So I was thinking from the off that this person should just run away with it. So anything other than him just dominating this race, I would be surprised, but we'll see how it goes. Just lifting off over this crest, otherwise the car will go absolutely mental on you as we then come down towards, this is the very tricky section on the circuit, down to the 5th, down to the 4th, down to the 3rd, and then down to the 2nd for that crest there. But you see how much that unsettles the car as you dip, as you go through that dip. The car really doesn't like that. So then come into the final hairpin before the back straight. So a crucial corner that, leading on to a very long straight into a very good overtaking opportunity at the chase. And I do have the attention here of a very big boy, the Nissan GTR, and it's good to see actually people using different cars, unlike me, absolute idiot. So into the corner, braking at the 150 board, which is your actual marker, but not if you're going defensive. So I go over the grass because I really should have braked a lot earlier. That was absolutely stupid move for me to brake a little bit too late, obviously. Onto the grass, lose 2 positions. I've surrendered my 3rd place, but at least, you know, it wasn't a spin or it wasn't a crash, so we can keep going with no damage and see if we can get back onto terms. At least we need to finish where we started. I think that's the main aim, and if we can do that, I'll kind of be happy. Although it looked like on the first lap that 2nd place should have been possible at least. So then through turn 2 up towards 3 and 4. So you're just kind of braking on that apex there. You then go wind into turn 4, kind of keep it nice and narrow up against the wall, and power away. Now this circuit is a classic circuit, you know, with the walls the way they are. It's really good challenge. I do love these classic circuits where, you know, there's not excessive runoff everywhere, so mistakes aren't punished at those kinds of circuits. At this circuit, you make a mistake, you are punished, and that is, you know, it's a proper driving challenge around here. As we go into this one a little bit too hot, not too bad though, taking it a little bit better, trying to control the car, trying to get to grips with it, excuse the pun, as we get back onto terms maybe with this Aston Martin in 4th place. So the Aston Martin actually a really good car for this circuit because it's really good on this back straight. And so there's 2 really long straights here, so that does suit that car. Into here, a little bit too hot, dip 2 wheels wide, get a big slide on, and I think the guy ahead takes that as a cue to slide as well. And he's into the wall, he's around, and for him he's going to lose a lot of time and a lot of positions. I'm going to gain 1 position up into 4th. 1 lap later, you see here, I'm going to make a mistake, just dipping 2 wheels wide, and that's what I mean. You get punished, you make a silly little mistake like that, you just dip two wheels on the grass. You know, if that was AstroTurf or if it was tarmac, I'll just carry on going with no time loss or minimal time loss. But there we go, grass and walls equals me spinning off and dying. So down to 5th. So yeah, this race really has not gone to plan at all. Now my only saving grace here possibly is the undercut. So I'm going to go into the pit lane early and try to gain time with the fresher tyres, as I'm really struggling for grip now. So we're going to bear to the left, hopefully we don't go too deep, because this pit lane is absolutely treacherous. You can easily go off into that gravel. Even the pit lane is a mess here. Even the pit lane can kill you. So into the pits we go, 34% of fuel. The attempt here is really to undercut the guys in 3rd and 4th, see if we can even just gain on them. I'll be happy just to gain. I don't even need to overtake them, as long as I can get into a fight, because those spins lost me a lot of time. So then back into the pack here. Unfortunately, you don't want to lose too much time behind these people, because they are going to go into the pit stop. They're they are going to go for their pit stop at the end of this lap. You don't want to lose time against them. So fortunately past that Porsche, not losing really much time at all as he kind of went wide. And these guys are going to peel off to the left hand side. They're going to go for the pit stop this time around. So that gives me some free air. So this is the important part of the race. This is where things are going to get decided. Am I going to be able to fight for third, or am I just going to be miles off and just be forgotten in terms of this race? Coming through turn 1, and I'm up into 4th, and look at that, just ahead of the Aston Martin, which was in 2nd place. So I don't quite understand what he did, unless that Aston is really bad on fuel. It looks like he overfueled his car, and I've got back past the Irishman who overtook me when I spun on lap 4 at the top of the hill. So I've gained 2 positions really. I am technically 3rd when you consider that the guy in 3rd currently hasn't pitted yet. So once he does his pit stop, then I'm up into 3rd. So that really isn't too bad of a recovery, given that I had 2 really big incidents and lost quite a lot of time. I'm just amazed that this guy behind me in the Aston has lost so much time, going from battling for 1st to now fighting with me for 3rd, which is quite a big come down for him. So he's going to have to handle that coming out of the pit lane and just seeing me thinking, what the hell, how did he get there when he spun off twice? Well, that's what a poor strategy does, or overfilling your car. You can see through that section, the car is such a handful. It really is hard to control. Now this car can produce the quickest lap times around here. All of the top 10 times are set in this car, so it just proves that this car is the fastest. Perhaps though, it is quite simply the fastest 1 lap pace car. You can set the quickest 1 lap in it, but over a course of a 9 lap race with tyre wear, with fuel use, maybe it isn't. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The leader is in this car, so maybe it proves that it is, but it is very hard to drive. So perhaps I might have been better off going with a car that I can actually drive without spinning off. I'll be further up the road, you know, I'll probably be 2nd at this moment. So 3rd place goes into the pit lane, he peels off to the left. I move up into 3rd place then. So this now becomes a 3 lap battle between 3 cars for 3rd place, down into the chase for the 7th time. So hitting the apex nicely. We're coming through and we make a mistake on the exit. So I kind of just got a bit of oversteer and just had to back out to make sure that I didn't spin. I'm going to surrender about half a second as a result of that, which is quite a big gap to surrender when you're so evenly matched with someone, and unfortunately that's going to bring him just about into slipstream range. Now this car is really good in a straight line, but the Aston Martin I reckon could match it. So I'm going to see as we progress around the lap, is he going to be able to get onto terms with me? Is he going to be able to get past? I think all he needs to do is really just get into a good position. I'll brake a little bit early and he's into the back of me, and to be fair, I was driving so weirdly at this point. At least I got rid of my penalty there. But I was driving so weirdly at this point because I just couldn't really control the car. I was just panicking. I was really just driving very badly, and I braked a little bit too early. To be fair to that guy behind, he did punt me, but I braked too early, so he wasn't to kind of expect that. So no penalties as a result, because there was the hit. You can sort of cut a corner as a result of that. Through the chase, is he going to be able to overtake me? I'm going to cover the inside line. I didn't quite know how good his car was on the brakes, so I didn't want to risk leaving myself open to attack. On the exit, a lot nicer through that lap. So we have 1 lap remaining. It's a battle for 3rd place. I think the Irishman in 5th has dropped off. He's made a couple of mistakes. So it's going to be just a 2-way fight with 1 lap left to go for 3rd place. Can I keep the position and at least finish where I started? And let's face it, that is not too bad of a recovery given that the accidents I had. Now coming up the mountain straight, I'm going to cover the inside line. It's the only thing I can do. He's flashing his headlights actually. He's going to have to go to the left hand side, which is going to be the outside of turn 2. There's no way around there. I've got it covered off very nicely. Just going to really try to drive very sensibly as much as I can, even though I grazed the wall there. Cover the inside line into here, take a much narrower line in so he doesn't think about sending one up the inside in a Danny Ricciardo-esque move. Doesn't quite go for it. So through here, just really need to have a good sector. Just have a good sector. Don't dip your two wheels onto the grass there. Almost do. Down the dip, through the left. Really fast sequence this, over the crest. Make sure you lift here. Looking up the inside, and to be fair to him, he might have gone for that. I was expecting him to go for it. He didn't. So he's running out of opportunities to go for this pass if he's going to go for it. Sliding down the hill, keeping it just about in check. Keeping it in third gear through there that time. The car much more easy to control by keeping it in a slightly higher gear with less traction to worry about, or less, you get more traction and less loss of traction is the correct way to say it. So they're down the back straight for the final time. Can I keep the position? It's been so close between the two of us. He's definitely the quicker driver, I think, but I've got track position by better strategy. Let's see if it works. I'm going to force him to the right hand side, which is the outside for this corner. I've learnt my lesson. I'm not going to brake too late. I've already had practice of taking the inside line now, getting it wrong on that 1, getting it correct on that 8, and getting it correct on that 9. 1 corner left to go. Going to take the normal racing line. I don't think there's any opportunity for him to lunge me there. Well, he could have gone for it, but it probably would not have ended well. To the line we go. I'm just about going to keep third place in what was quite a decent recovery, if I may say so. Some sketchy defending, but we just about get the job done. 20 seconds off of the lead in the end. Wow. I probably should have been second there if not for those mistakes, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I do hope you enjoyed the races as always, guys. Do let me know your thoughts. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more of the same. I shall see you next time. Thank you very much for watching as always. Goodbye.
Listen.